Which one is it? Mashlome, mashlomcha. That's for women, and mashlome, that's for men, I think. Yeah. So how is maslomcha again? Well, I have perfect language head. I'm good with languages. Je suis vraiment comment je parle français. One could think that I know what I'm doing. Parlo italiano come uno italiana, come matta italiana. That somebody can think that I can actually. Well, Italian is quite good. Yeah. My French is quite decent, and my Italian is quite good. And so, as a musician, as a pianist, as some, because it's singing. Ultimately, languages are singing. So you hear the sound, the intonation, because before language, the sound was there already, and that's why the traditional poet singers, they are the ones that created the language. Like in Finland, we have these traditional poet singers. They would sing the stories, they would sing the tales, and after those stories, our language only emerged. If you manage to learn Finnish, it's with two N's. Yeah, well, since it's my mother tongue, I can't really tell if it's difficult or not. But Hebrew is not a difficult language. So it looks difficult, but there's actually there's actually like a order. So it's not the most difficult. But people, in Finnish we say like total French, total Hebrew. If something is incomprehensible. No, heippa. I have a very international audience. I have all the continents. I have the Americas, because Puerto Rico is still in North America. Anyhow. And then we have Middle East, and then we have, it's funny though that Israel is always in Eurovision, and but there are a bunch of other countries that have nothing to do with Europe. Culturally, they are European, but yeah. But and you can live so many different realities when you live in Israel. If you only hang out with Ashkenazis, that's when you think that's what's going on. And I lived in when I lived in Israel, I lived in Givatayim. That's a very, very white town, and then I lived next to a school, so it was very quiet. Well, it wasn't quiet, but it was very kind of decent. So when people, they don't recycle per se. So when they recycle, they just carry everything on to the street. And as a student, I was really happy with this arrangement. So I just took, and these were like, because it was a posh neighborhood, so these were like proper sofas, they were bags of knitted and washed clothes, like this one is not, but I'm still owning some of the clothes that I got from these recycled, like for a sudden eye they look like they're like just dumps, like somebody's thrown them away, but when you open that back you realize that there's actually some people just throw away their bad stuff, but many people actually many people actually threw away like really, really nice clothes, and I was really happy about it. Yeah, I still have pants that I've worn a lot, my free pants, and yeah. So I was really happy that I was living in a nice area, so that was benefiting me. I got some furnitures on the street. Once I got started fighting with some guys, they were like they were already carrying away this sofa, and I was like, because Bella eventually destroyed that sofa completely, but it's much better to have a puppy and a recycled sofa than a new one that the puppy will destroy. So yeah, and then I was just shouting like, "That's mine!" And I don't know, did I tell them to carry that for me? I probably did that too. I'm really good like that, you know. I'm bossing around people that didn't even think that they would do anything for me, but like it looks funny in a video when I'm like this, but it's a kind of because I have everything is black, my background and everything is black, so but I don't have age sight yet. So your close proximity, whatever it's called, your sight it starts to go decrease after like I don't know what age, but I am still seeing. But I just noticed when I was watching my life that I do this, but it's just I don't know, it's just a habit because I don't know, my sight is quite fine. But I think this kind of recycling style is actually really, really nice because it's not very practical but there were so many people who would just take them away and they would use them. And so I returned the favor. I was kind of like, I was putting some stuff, but since I was a student, I didn't have anything too valuable. But it was a residential area, so there were a lot of families and there were a lot of nice houses on my street. So it was like you could see that it makes sense that the stuff they recycle, it was good stuff. And this is really the original idea of recycling, because in Finland and every other country I know, you take them to be processed, and then I don't know, some company process them and then they sell them for a price or something like that. It's still not that expensive, but this was like straight from the street kind of recycling, and that was funny. I would have like million stories from my time in Israel. I've been there. I've been coming in and out 12 years. So the first time I was in 2009 on my world trip. I had been in Australia, New Zealand, and then it was March 2009, and I didn't want to go back home. It was still cold in Finland. So I remember I was sleeping one night in Heathrow Airport, or sleeping. You have these, if there's a unintended attended bag, we will destroy it because it's a bomb. This was just they kept playing that all night long, and the benches were not nice at all. But things that you do to get a cheaper ticket, like I got this one way to Europe for like 180 euros, but one night in Malaysia, one night in London, it's I don't know if it's worth a hassle, but so I went to Tel Aviv in March 2009, and I met the young lady. We are still like sisters. We are super good friends still. So she's one of the best things that as a souvenir I got from that trip. And it was such a vibrant city, and such a bubbly Mediterranean city. I fell in love with it right away. And even if I have encountered a lot of problems during my time in Israel, it's not an easy country. But when enough time goes by, I have many times left the country like, never am I going back there. But then some time goes by, and then you're like, I could go back. So and now this is the longest time I haven't been there. I usually go twice a year, and now because of COVID, Israel was the first country that completely closed their borders. But they are also now one of the first countries that is opening them back up, or like at least the vaccinations and everything is quite widespread now. So maybe at some point you can go back. But Yeah, on my first trip, I was 2 months. I was supposed to be 2 weeks, but I ended up staying for 2 months. And then I went back home, started my studies, my bachelor's degree, and I went right away. The next year, I went for a holiday the next spring. So that became kind of a tradition. I have gone in March, and then I have gone in November. First years, I only went in March, and then because March is like already in Israel, it's quite warm. It's not crazily warm, but it's in Finland. We have still a winter, and they have like a springtime, and Finnish summertime temperatures. So it's a perfect time to go there. Not too many tourists and like that. And now the last 5 years I've been going both also in November, because November is the most depressing month in Finland. Hello, Engelberto. And then I went to my exchange in France, 2011. But then I knew that I have to go back there, and I had seen the master programs. They had started the master programs, so of course I applied right away. One of the international master programs, political science program, and yeah, so I went there 2011 in November, and came back home after the first year, August 2012, and then I went back there for another year, 14-15. So that's the last time I've lived there, but I have been back. Well, I explained all this in my why I quit studies in Israel in that video, that I didn't go back after a while because I felt like not good about it. But then now it has become like a regular thing again for me. So what about you guys? What is your favorite? Do you have a destination that you always keep going back? Onko mitään vakkilomakohteita, minne aina tulee mentyä takaisin? This was my holiday story.